Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have with me Marcel Jordan. Hey, Marcel.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. Wow, this is awesome. Is there an applause? Oh, what? Thank you. I'm just kidding. I'm just in a good mood early in the morning. How are you?
I am great. It is early where you are, like 4 a.m. in Las Vegas.
Well, it's 7 o'clock a.m. somewhere in the world. Yeah, but you know what? I'm kind of always up anyway, and I was doing some coding earlier, so I'm just still wired up anyway. So it's good to see you this morning.
Yeah, nice to see you too. So, just so people know you, I'm going to read your short bio.
Sure.
So, Marcel Jordan is a United States Marine Corps veteran. He spent 4 years as a United States Marine sniper. Marcel started working in radio in 1990, and he is also coding as a software engineer. So, you have quite a background, and I'm going to let you
Yes.
tell your own story. So, tell us your story.
Well, yeah, okay. I'll try to be brief because I can be long-winded, my friends. Um, well, I'm the youngest of 9 kids, same mother and father, grew up in a home, and my parents were kind of elderly by the time they left us and everything. Great parents, just a great thing. And when I got out of high school, because my brother had got my older brother, like third up or something, had gone into the Marine Corps. And long story short, I followed him. I saw him when he came home from boot camp, and I was like, "Who's this person?" Right? So I went in blindly, going into the Marine Corps, following my brother. But it was the best thing I could have ever done because I went in 1984. Okay, from 1984 to 1988, I was in the Marine Corps, and I learned so much. Just the discipline and being a kid coming out of high school, never doing anything before. It just instilled so many things in me to this day. So it was a good move. And then when I got out of the Marine Corps, because I decided to get out because I thought you get used to being in the military. You really do, because it's a certain regiment that you follow. And I said, I'm going to try to get out and see what's out there, because I'd never done anything past being a kid. So I got out, and long story short, a middle friend of mine who we walked to school together, he got into radio, and he said, "Hey man, do you still do the voices in Michael Jackson and Denzel Washington?" And luckily, as a kid, we would walk to school, and hey, what's going on? This is Denzel Washington, the Academy Award winner. You understand me? So I would do the impression, and automatically he was like, "Oh man, I'm calling you in the morning." And next thing you know, they called that morning, and I was working in radio ever since 1990 till now. And in 2010, I learned the code, and it's been an experience with that. I have my own platform. Actually, I built a few of them for people, and that's what I do too. I build, small, platforms for people. And I look, I tell people, I've been saying it for years too. Everybody needs their own platform. You do, right? Like, no matter how great it's going for you, you know how many people I hear complaining about Facebook just blocked me because, or Instagram just, and yeah, it's cool. It's the greatest thing. Use social media. Just don't let it use you. That's the whole thing. Use social media. Don't let it use you. That's all. So, see, I got that done quickly. That's my whole life right there.
That was quick. I'm surprised. I thought we might be here for a while
Well, I can go
yeah.
into some things because there's a lot I like to talk about, because I consider myself a teacher. There's so many things I've learned about broadcasting, for example, right? That I want to help people with, because I see, you ever heard of the term the blind leading the blind?
Mhm.
Do you realize that's what's going on out here, right? From podcasting to, and I know people are going to kill me. Who does this guy think he is? Look, from podcasting, because podcasting is broadcasting. It's just a new term that we label it. And it's really crazy because it's kind of confusing to call it podcasting, because then we have to, you're a podcaster. So what is it on? Is it audio? Is it video? Is it live? See, when we had broadcasting, we knew what it was, right? And you wouldn't call Anderson Cooper a podcaster. He's doing the same thing. Right? Why is that broadcast? So, it's just the way that it is now. But as a broadcaster, there are principles to broadcasting that we understand, right? That are missing today, that just aren't there because people are used to just hit the button and, hey, what's going on, everybody? Wow. You know, and there's just some real gems that are missing. And I can imagine in 10, 15, 20 years at this rate, we'll miss all of that good broadcasting skills and principles, and it's just morphed into someone else, especially as long as people have success with podcasts. Then, legacy media is one thing. And believe me, I'm not one of these people who are so old school that I don't understand tech. I build the tech, so I understand it, but I've been using it and being in radio and in communications for so long that I see, right? I see what, for instance, Mark Zuckerberg may not see or have seen. This guy didn't come up in radio. He came up not in TV, he came up as a college kid. And that's what we have. We have the vision of a kid in college with Facebook. And then TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, they all kind of follow that same thing. And there's a lot missing there. So when I started to code and learned how to build these types of platforms, mine is, as you've experienced, it's a little different. It's the idea. And it's the idea. I'll stop there and take a breath.
Well, I think everything that you can learn or master has basics, and everyone has to know the basics inside and out and always go back to the basics. No matter how fancy you get, you always go back to the basics. Yep. So, what are some of the basics of broadcasting that everyone should follow or everyone should practice?
Oh, it's easy. Just be yourself, be who you are. Like, and even from radio, for example, right? When you're listening, I'll give you an example. On the radio, typically people identify with this, right? Here you go. All right, 107.9, you're inside the best variety of hits and oldies. Coming up, we've got a chance for you to pick up the new tickets and come into town. Nobody sounds like that in the world. There's nobody who says, hey, what are you doing? Kimberly, Dr. Kimberly, can I pick you up something? I'm going to the store right now and I can pick you up. Like, who speaks like that? Nobody. So principle number one is with this stuff, and it even evolved from that to just be yourself. That whole delivery should be, hey, everybody, what's going on? This is Marcel. And then listen, today I want to talk about just conversational, right? And now you do see that in people, but guess what people try to do? I see it all the time. They try to do the, hey, everybody, get ready. We're ready for the big show and the big grandiose thing. And never, ever is it not good to do that. It's better to just jump in. We don't need a long intro and jingles. You ever hear, you wait for the jingles. So that's another principle that's missing. Just jump in, because we only had the jingles back in the day because it was TV or radio. And on the radio, the reason they keep saying power 107.9, you're listening to them. You even hear the little sweepers that go, you're listening to the best radio station across the nation. That's because they have to brand you to know who and what you're listening to, which station, for ratings, right? Because they send out something to Arbitron, was a measuring a ratings thing. And when they send a diary out, which I've never seen one, but they supposedly do, they want to brand in your head what that station is. Well, we don't need that today. So that principle we don't need, right? Because we know where you are. We actually got a notification and came to you, or we see before we click it what it is, right? So plus, we don't need to know the name of the station or anything, because we, again, got a notification to come in. So the principles have changed, right? But the ones to keep is how you present yourself. And your mic sounds great, by the way, but a professional microphone goes a long way. It's a psychological thing when your mic sounds like this versus, it sounded like this. So, all right, everybody, this is what we're doing today. Hey, da-da-da-da-da. It's different from when you have a nice, robust sounding mic. It's the little psychological thing that says, wow, that sounds great. That sounds better. I like it. But you don't realize it, right? So it's the little things that we don't realize about broadcasting that really works. Just if you mess up. People take all day editing their podcast. Oh my gosh. And the very mistake, the dog running into the room and you're having a serious conversation. So, and then that's when Jeff and his wife went on to visit God. And the dog comes in and you're like, oh boy, stop, get down. Oh my gosh, get down, go in there. My
That's the
dog.
part I love, actually. I don't edit mine unless, I mean, we had to stop for something. But other than that, I don't edit. And I
Right.
doorbells ring, someone has to go get their package, dogs come in, cats walk behind them on the couch. I mean, kids walk
See,
in.
because
I think that's real life.
it is, and that's my point. So the point is, that's that psychological thing that says, well, that's a real person. See, these little things endure or endear your audience to you, right? It just says you're human. Oh my gosh, that was me. I would have died, and or whatever. So they just see the real person there. Pardon me, folks. My dog is so crazy, and you have to address that, right?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, my dog is so crazy. I tell you, he sees me in here. I thought I locked the door, and people can automatically relate to that. So what makes you great is really being likable. This is real, and being relatable. Okay, you can have a cousin or an uncle on the radio or TV, or a singer, and they could be horrible. But if that's your cousin. So oh man, that's my cousin though. That's my cousin or my sister. So you have that relatability to them. So they're automatically a star. And then you like them, obviously. Same thing with karaoke. None of them, no karaokeers, well, a few, but none of them sound good. But we all in the same boat doing karaoke, and that was so good, and we even know it wasn't good. How many times have
That's
you
right.
told somebody in karaoke, oh, that was amazing, right? It's almost like we feel like we gotta say that, right?
Oh, and it
So
was
it's like
almost
that.
hard to get through sometimes. It's like, oh, please finish singing.
Yes. So anyway, I don't want to go down everything, but it's those little things that we just know to do and how we should do it and whatever. Uh, and just it just depends on what your podcast is about, but it's you. It's you that they will follow for. The content's not king, but it's queen, right? The content is important too, but the way ahead of everything, it's you. If you like me and you can relate to me, I'm in. And I'll tell you something about you if I can. Like you're very likable and relatable. And I'll tell you why. You have a warm personality, you know, even your look, your appeal is nice. You're a very nice looking lady. Your background is perfect. It's almost like, oh wow, I want to come out there. It's the beach. Oh my God, where are you? Miami, or is it I don't know, Hawaii. So all of that plays into our psyche, and you obviously know that because you have yours set up so perfectly. So you're winning. You're winning. I usually have the crowd because it's kind of stagey, but it's a prop that psychologically for some kind of bridges a gap. So if I'm saying something, and so hey, look, I feel good about that. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong pad. So if I say I feel really good about that, I don't care. Yeah, and it kind of lets you bridge that emotion to a different emotion. It gives you a break because I talk a lot if I'm by myself. So I'm like, yep. All right, quiet down, quiet down. Then I go back and segue into whatever else because sometimes you do need a break. So it's little things, right? So those are some of the actual things that people or the things that we've learned that in radio, because radio and TV has been around since the 20s, 30s, that we just get away from because it's a new thing, and that's why so many people struggle. So I know all the tricks, I know what to do, and I can tell you if I were grading your podcast, and really not just because you're here, you got it on point, so that part.
Well, thank you. And I love that about being yourself. So this podcast, I interview people from all different walks of life. And I don't agree with that, everyone. There's no way I could because I tell people I have vegans and I have carnivores on here, and I can't possibly agree with everything everyone says and does. But this is a platform for people's voice. I remember during COVID, I was so happy that I had started this before all that happened because I'm like, this is a platform for everyone to come on and be their authentic selves and talk about their beliefs, their, what they do, their gifts, their talents, and they can be totally themselves. And that's when I'm interviewing someone, I'm listening, really listening to what they're saying so that I can create questions that I think will inspire the audience, but will also inspire that person. Sometimes even questions I think they haven't thought of in a while.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I can't argue with that. For me, I learned early in radio. Like, oh, here's another thing. Oh man, this one here. And I get why people do this, but they try to get information from you. Well, tell me a little bit about you. They collect it all so they can answer or ask questions. I never do that. I never want to know because when I find out, first of all, this is real. You find out in real time and you ask real questions. You're a human. You're going to ask real questions, right? And you give an authentic reaction to it because you're hearing it for the first time with the audience, right? If it's something shocking, you'll be like, don't try to hide it and be, because we get to be real here. That's the beauty of this, right? So don't try to, somebody say something shocking. Yeah, well, I'm a serial killer. And you go, you can say, well, okay, understandable, but everyone doesn't appreciate it, or you can go into it. But whatever your reaction is, it'll be genuine. Just like you kind of chuckled, somebody could say something like, well, okay, but everybody, I'm just trying to say, sir, everyone doesn't appreciate a serial killer. And somebody will laugh like he's definitely trying to deal with this person. So they can relate to that and say, oh, good for him. So that's why I can interview you and not know anything about you. I'll just start asking little nosy questions. And the best part is it'll be something that pops into my head that I probably, if I'd gone over your information, wouldn't have thought of. Right. So that's a good tip for people too. Just telling you, be you. We're in an environment now where when we do this and we hit the button, we can't be fired. Unless you say something really bad and they kick you off the platform. But and then if you have your own platform, you really can't be fired. So when we work in radio, we have to get ratings every quarter, every 3 months. The ratings come out, and yeah, you can have a bad book, what we call a ratings book, period, whatever. But you're not going to get 2 or 3 of those. You can forget it, pack your bags, So our career and our job depended on us being on point every day, and all that. So those are some things as well. But I really love this. I think this is great. I love this environment. But we got to start, if you don't mind, I want to say we have to start thinking more of ownership of our platforms, because we don't own these. We take ownership of them, right? But if we're on Spotify or YouTube or wherever with our platform, and there are many, if you notice that the more that come up, the more and more, because some people have invested in building the platform to put everybody on it so they can make billions, literally. Facebook, how much do you think Instagram is worth? Just shot in the dark. Just give me something. We know it's a lie. Give me something.
I don't know. Millions. But I don't know how many.
Instagram was purchased, like me, I'm a developer, right? Some kid built it because he was a photographer and he wanted his own little thing. And that's when it started out. You post a picture, a nice picture, people would talk about how great it was. But Mark Zuckerberg purchased that back in 2012, before any of this was even a thing like that, for $1 billion, right? So Instagram is actually worth, you can Google it. It's like you'll get like somewhere between 100 billion and 200 billion. And that's just Instagram, not Facebook, right? So this is the business. And Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, yada, yada, yada. They all follow suit because you know what we do? We're on all of them. You can ask somebody, well, how can we find you? I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, this one and that one and this one. And here's the common sense thing. And I hope I'm not making anybody upset with me because they're like, well, I do mine like that because, people don't like to be wrong. And I'm not saying you're wrong. Do what you do. But here's the common sense part. Most people, if you go to their website, you'll see Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, blah, 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 like the little icon. They're on them all. Somebody, blind leading the blind, somebody told these people that you should be on all the platforms. So they're hustling to be on every platform. Well, if everybody's on all the platforms and we know this, then you only need to be on one. They'll find you. And when you're connecting genuinely to that one platform, to those people, yes, now you're going to win. Okay. Hey, I'm on Facebook, and they'll get to you. You're not going to do any better because you're on them all. It's just people think, well, the more people that follow me, that doesn't work for you. The more people you have to follow you. That works for them. They're winning, right? They're making money just from all the followers. You don't own that platform, and if you're in a town where, let's say I'm in Las Vegas, I can have 50,000 followers on the social media, right? Excuse me. But if I have a shop or a business or some sort of car dealership, whatever it is, restaurant, I don't have 50,000 people in my town who can come to my restaurant this afternoon, right? So we have to think like that, but people don't. They think, I got 500,000 people on here, and chances are in your town, maybe 12 or 15, right? So we have to start rethinking how this thing works. We think, well, if I get so many people who are going to follow me, then you know what's going to happen? I can now charge people to mention stuff for them. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to come to you because it's too oversaturated. And by the way, this isn't a dig in on Facebook, Instagram, or any of them. We love them. We love them. We would not say anything bad about them. We're just talking about, or I'm just talking about how it goes out there. And hopefully somebody can pick up on some of this. So I hope I'm okay. But we really have to take a more simple and common sense approach to this because we put a lot of time and effort into this. All you have to do is have your own platform the same way others are using it in an app. You wouldn't expect to go to Instagram.com every time, right? Or Facebook.com on your phone that you carry around with you. So offer your viewers the same thing. Have your own apps. They can click on it. They get a notification they don't even have to remember when you're on. Click on a notification. Those are the tools to success with any of this. And people just don't. It's the blind leading the blind. Somebody said, they got gurus that teach. What you should do is you make sure, and they don't even know. They heard somebody say that and they collected a few things. And now the blind, the people who don't know, heard from the people who don't know. And now they're telling you the wrong thing. So, but I don't want to sound like I'm beating up on other people. I just know what I know. I've been doing this forever, since the 90s, right? So I know 1990 actually. But yeah, so what else?
So, we all want to have our own impact. You're
Yeah.
talking about having your own app, but if everybody has their own app, how many apps can you be on? Like you said,
You can't be on them all.
You can't be on them all.
Let me explain that too. And you're right. So let's look at this logically. Okay. There's so many, they're literally 2 billion active users on Instagram, for example. 2 billion. You can Google it. It's right there. But you don't visit all 2 billion. You can't. You never will. Okay. So the thing is, you can't and you won't and you shouldn't try to. And you shouldn't look at it like, oh my gosh, I want to meet all the people on this. You're not going to do it. So everybody can have their own app, like everybody can have their own platform. Okay. Everybody's not going to download your app, like everybody's not going to visit the platform you're in, right? That you're not going to visit all those people. So same thing, right? But that's when people say, well, everybody's not going to download. Well, that's true, but that's not your concern. Your concern is making it simple for the people who connect with you to connect with you. Might even have more people who would connect with you if they could just hit the app. They probably went to your website, had gone to your website before, and was like, oh, this is great. And then 10 minutes later, somebody sent them 4 or 5 other links to click on to do something with. And what was it again? I think it was Dr. Chanel. And then something gets your attention. And so download the app. They're right there. Even when they're looking for another app, right? They see yours. Oh, yeah. Dr. Kimberley, it's a new podcast there, right? Or whatever it is. Or they got a notification that keeps them coming back. Not an email blast that people, but I'm giving out some gems here I'm thinking about, but not an email blast that makes your email just spams your email. No, nothing against people who do that. It's just an old way of doing it from the early 90s, right? When we started to, do websites and stuff like that. It's really a problem. When you have an app, we expect a quick little blurb to come off the top of your screen and you can wave it away and you keep your notifications on because it's not a big deal. But the email blast, when you go on, you got all this junk in there, right? And then some of it goes to a spam folder, because that's the email client from Apple or Google trying to help out, but they can't be 100% correct. So now you miss email. It's a mess. Do be professional. Get your own platform for your people, right? Just for them, okay? But it's a service for you too. You can monetize that easily. You don't even have to ask people to buy anything from you. You could be someone selling products, but just to share people 100 followers or 200 or 500 as they swipe through some of your collection of videos that you've done. You can ask Google, because Google controls everything from the maps to the phone. They own the whole phone, the Android. That's Google. They own YouTube. So they own that too, right? Just fill it out. I want Google ads in there, AdSense. They put it in there, charge you a little bit a month based on what you make, percentage, right? And as they scroll through, you just automatically are making money, cha-ching, and not a penny for every 1,000 views. Every view, $2-3. It's really simple. People don't know that, and I teach that a lot. I do these classes with that too, and I love just giving it out anyway. People need to know, So yeah.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, um, people make money with the app when other people go on and look at the app or connect on the app, or when
Yeah.
they advertise on the app.
Yep. That's how they do it. And again, those ads are what primarily keeps them alive, right? Of course, they sell other things where you boost your content or whatever, but the main part is because it used to be a big data mining camp where, because we're honest, they'll do it, right? But they kind of shutting that down a little bit, But the main thing is the ads. And here's the thing. They're not ads like when I came up, commercials, we were like, oh, another commercial. These ads we want to see, right? It's the ad is how to make mashed potatoes without using mashed potatoes or any potato of any sort. Here's how it works, right? Now, that's 3 seconds gone. 3 seconds. But you can't tear away from, I know this is a trick, but I want to see what is. So you're in 3 or 4 seconds, got paid. And then when you listen, it makes sense what he's saying, but I knew it wasn't potatoes, but I get what he meant. So too late. We already got. So everything that we see in those ads are top-notch, entertaining, and we can't tear away after 3 or 4 seconds. So it's built that it works for you, and you don't have to have anything to do with that. It'll jive with your algorithm in your app for the people that's in there, because we know the age of them. We know some simple information: age, sex, pretty much what they like, or age, gender, pretty much what they like, and then it'll feed the right things to them. So it's amazing. I sometimes take for granted that people know this, though. Everybody knows this. Why would I? But I don't think so, though. A lot of people may not know these things, and it's just so many little things. We all should be all making. First of all, they should be paying all of us about $150 every month anyway. Period. You should get a check right there, because you in a 30-day period, somebody has sent you something that you opened and looked at, right? For however long, and you've shared something to somebody, or you've gone in and looked, or you answered. So just that alone made them hundreds of millions of dollars. It's just seriously. Google it. Say, how much is Instagram worth? It'll tell you, and you'll be shocked, right? So but they don't do that because they know we need this, right? We need to be on these platforms, but we really don't. We just haven't thought about, invest. Some people will invest in themselves and not do this just to be doing it or for whatever reason. You should be able to have fun and make a lot of money. That I remember when I first got into radio, because the way that I'd gotten in, I really felt like I didn't deserve to be there because I'm like, I remember every day I'd go into the station and I would think, man, somebody's going to come in and say, this guy, why is he here? What is this guy doing here? Right. I used to, for about 2 or 3 years. Right. And I'm on my 34th year because I built a radio station in my own app. But I'll tell you, the first 3 years I used to think like that, but it wasn't, but I loved it. I just had so much fun and they were paying me. They were paying me to have fun. I was like, I should be paying them, and so that's just what it is. You should be having a ball, but you got to invest a little bit in yourself, and people don't do that. And these apps teach us the opposite. You don't need to. We click a button and everything happens for us, right? And that's not the real world anyway. You got to put a little sweat in the game, and those that do, they're the ones who really do well with this stuff. So, but I love it.
So I think sometimes people don't think about having an app because it's a little overwhelming. I was talking to uh, a friend who, he has a platform for corporations for this wellness program. And when he started looking into it, they were telling him, by the time you put everything into it that you want with these challenges and all this stuff, that it's going to be at least $300,000 on up to make this app. And he said, so I decided to just buy into someone else's app because I didn't want to invest that money. So
yeah, that's
I
another
think
myth
people
thing.
think that apps are going to be so expensive.
Right. Well, I can give you a nice little parallel here. I remember when I got my first car. I told you about the military. I was a kid and all that. And don't worry, I'm not going to go into a long story. But I remember I couldn't drive or anything, and I did nothing before I went into the Marine Corps. And here I am. I got money stacking up for the first time. I've never $250. I got paid every 2 weeks. I was like, what am I going to do with all this money? And then we were training, and I still didn't get to spend it because we were always in some other country training for, the hopefully not the war or whatever. And I just remember not even knowing how to drive. So when you need a car so you can do better and get around and get to a better job instead of, well, the McDonald's is next door. That's the only place I can work. But I got a huge brain. But the place that's the medical center is across town. Get a car. Now, people tell you all the time, get a car, learn how to drive. That's what we know. Nobody tells you what it takes to get the license plate, buy the car. You figure it out because you need that, right? And you have to have that foundation or you're not going to do well. Same thing with the app, right? Somebody said an app can cost $100 million or it could cost $1,500. I've built apps for people, and I still do, for $1,500, and you have your own app that works pretty much like your own platform with the videos and all that. But people don't know. If somebody comes to you and tell you, I can't even imagine how somebody could say, oh, it's going to be that much money without even, well, what are you trying to do? Right? It depends on what you're trying to do. But if you're just trying to have your videos and you want to have it so you can send what's called push notifications out and communicate with the people or chat, the same things that we use here, I've done plenty of. I'm just saying for people so they would understand. Done plenty of those for 15 grand to 2 grand. You can't even get a website for that, right? And I've done them, and it's easy for me because I can, and plus I like to help people. I see where they're going wrong. So just get your own platform if it costs $300 million, okay? Because that's a good investment in yourself, is what I'm saying. So That's what I want people to understand.
Well, that's good to know because, that was my experience hearing from him. I'm like, wow, well, who can have an app then? So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can tell you if I may, if I can speak just to you, um, and we were kind of talking off mic. I see what you're doing here, Dr. Kimberly, and I told you before, uh, I really don't like saying these things when we're in the call or in the thing because I don't want people to think I'm being biased to you, but really, I said this earlier. You really, this is a job well done here. You know, your background, you're well lit, you're dressed the part, and just everything, your demeanor, you listen well, because I've been rambling here since we started. And I feel good about you because I feel like, oh, she's listening. People like me who talk a lot, that's what we're looking for. Is she gonna tell me to stop? Right? You seem engaged, right? So you got it all down. And we talked a little bit, and you told me you have quite a few of these that you've done. The only thing is missing is that, excuse me, you never have to sell it. You don't have to sell it. You have enough of these, 2, 3, 5, 10 of them, where people can see what you do, and people watch. Okay. And now just present. You might do one that you think this one's really good, right? Like the one I'm on now. No, I'm just kidding. No, but you might say this one's really good. And so you just send it out there like normal. But when they click on it, it'll say you have to subscribe to see this one and ones like it, because you should be able to pick and choose which ones you want as a part of a subscription based thing, simply. But they don't offer that out there unless you have 5 million zillion followers, and everybody should have that. And that's what I built into my app. So anybody can come into the app and you can take advantage of that. So, but that's when you have your own app, that's what you got so much going on that you don't have to ask anybody. In fact, you won't know who said, I'm not buying that. You just know that they didn't buy the subscription, but you'll see the subscriptions. And it's better to have 5 subscriptions than to have 500,000 non-subscriptions, because you're not making anything, right? Now, pardon me for a second, and I hope you don't cut this out. I'm not going to say anything too bad, but I like to say this because it kind of hits home. Slavery's over as we know it, right? And I liken not the platforms that we're going to have this on, not them. These are great platforms, but some of the platforms are like a plantation, like a digital plantation where the slaves would pick the cotton. And you have to imagine people were happy about, could have been 1 or 2 slaves that picked a lot of cotton. And the other slaves are, how do you pick so much cotton? We want to pick more cotton so the master will leave us alone, whatever the break is. Thanksgiving, you getting a turkey? We don't get a turkey, right? So you get a little reward, right? You might make $2 million on YouTube. Well, they made $1 billion, right? Off of you and what you did. But so we have to start thinking about leaving the plantation, or at least coming to the plant. If we could keep some of the cotton that we pick and maybe build up till we can have our own plantation and hire a few slaves where they don't work for free. I don't know, but you get the analogy. And that's where we need to get to as well. But as long as this is simple and easy to hit the button, you don't have to worry about any of that, then what are we doing it for, right? Like, really, we're doing it because someday it's not, that day's not going to come, right? Someday is today. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Someday is today.
Yeah.
Since tomorrow never comes.
Tomorrow never, I like that. Someday is today, but tomorrow never comes. I can't sing, by the way. I love karaoke, though, because they always say I can. They always say, oh, you are so good. Dr. Kimberly's like, what? Who have I had? Who is this guy? I'm just having a great time with you. I tell you, once again, your personality is so warm and so welcoming, and that's why. Because usually I'm shy. I don't talk that much.
Yeah, right.
But this is great. I love what you're doing. I can't help it. For your audience, I got to be honest. I can't help it. I'm a truth teller. I feel so comfortable in this space, and I know every other person that's come before me who you've interviewed or allowed to yap as long as I am. we just feel it's your energy. Your energy is this right here. It's you 100%. Wow. And all you got to do is, because I'm going to take this when you're done, and I'm going to grab a link of it. I'm sure I can get a link, and I'm going to air it in my app. And now everybody in there is going to, in fact, you can come into the app too. In fact, I want you to come into the app and do this out here and set up just like this in my app, so we can make sure when they come to that app and open that app up, Dr. Kimberly, something's going to go bloop, and they're going to see a little thing. See this little thing at the bottom? It's going to say, every time somebody opens it, click here to connect with Dr. Kimberly, and it's going to go right to your profile. That's what we want to do. Amen. That's what we want to do, because you're great. I've met you in another setting, and that's why, because normally I wouldn't do be on my podcast. I do not, right? Not that I'm too big or anything like that, because I'm not, but I just don't. But with your presence, when I met you, this is the second time seeing you. Met you one other time, and I was like, yeah, because your whole presence is you, and you should really know that, because people don't readily tell you that. And not for any other reason except they feel like, well, she knows she's great or whatever. But we're the last ones to know how great we are or our special power, just like we will never be able to see our own face with our eyes. I mean, we see reflections in videos, but everybody else sees it with their eyes. But what if we're all fooled and you really don't know? But the point is, and that's, I think, metaphorically speaking, it's for a reason, right? It's because you effortlessly are who you are at your core, then you don't appreciate you like we do. You would never know. You've been this way forever. Like it's nothing. But when we come around you, we're like, oh, wow, she's just like if somebody's mean, we're like, oh, I can't believe that. I cannot believe, right? So it's the same thing. But we should tell people more. And I think we don't, because we feel like, well, it's no big deal. I'm sure she knows or he knows, right? But when I recognize it, I like to let people know, because I like to celebrate it. Say, wow, you're really incredible. You're really good. And it's not a compliment. It's really more of an observation. But people are less inclined to give an observation, again, because they just feel like, well, I don't want them to think I'm buttering them up or say, everybody's got all this stuff in their head. But you really are. You're really good. You're really great. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And, I wanted to make a comment about, you said, well, I love it because you're listening to me. And, they say that, money is currency and money is important, but it's the biggest currency, especially when it comes to emotional, mental health. Attention. Attention is currency.
I like that. Look at that.
Give someone your attention. That is a huge amount of currency or energy you're sending their way by just holding space for them, letting them be themselves, letting them articulate whatever it is in their heart or in their mind, or the thing that is them that they want to share. That is currency.
Right on, right on, right on, Dr. Kimberly. And I tell you, and the currency varies too, because to some it's more than others. Because some people gotta be heard too. Like some people, that's their thing, So definitely that's a good, wow, that's a great point. Did you guys hear that one? Matter of fact, round of applause for that one. Okay. Because put that one in the pot. That's a good one. And that's something I have to practice. Like if I were doing, as much as I love to talk, if I were doing this interview, I would do exactly what you're doing. Listen more. And some people say, well, you need to listen, not just to reply, but listen. Well, in this game, you kind of listen for both reasons, right? But the reason you want to draw more, they're your guests, so you want to draw more out of them. And if you're busy trying to say, well, let me tell you about this though, right? That's why I like to be on this side of the fence, because I generally have a lot to say. But you're a pro. Like nobody taught you. This is what you didn't go to school for podcasting or anything, right? I don't think so. You're just a natural at it. And again, it's really not to minimize it, because I'm not, but it's just who you are. You're built for this stuff because you're a good listener. Your personality is this, right? You don't have to fight back wanting to say anything that much, probably. And that's why I'm here again, because I met you and I was like, yeah, heck yeah, I'll be on there. And people don't know this. So the process for this is a lot of work. You did a lot of work just to get me here, right?
Right.
You did a lot of work, and I gotta commend you. Gotta commend you on that too, because the whole system that you have in place is not complicated, but it's a lot. You had to go through everything to make it easy for me to say, okay, and here I am. That's why I'm here, because I would not be here otherwise. I guarantee it.
And people don't realize that podcasts are a lot of work. And I had someone ask me, it was another doctor. He said, well, should I do the podcast? He said, but I don't know if I want to go and do all that work. I'm like, then don't. I said, just
Yeah.
be on other people's podcasts.
Here's the
It's a
thing.
lot of work. It's a commitment. It is consistent commitment.
Yeah, but so why do you do it, if I can ask?
I do it because I am compelled to do it. I started out because I wanted to share my gifts and talents with the world, because I've been doing what I've been doing for over 30 years as a behavioral optometrist. And what I do is I help people get their goals, whether they're people who have rehabilitation or need to get better at something, or someone who wants to really exceed at something, like athletes. And
Mm,
so I'm good at finding that place where someone is starting and helping them get to where they want to go. And I had a colleague that actually was an amazing chiropractic neurologist who
wow.
all of a sudden died like within weeks, in
Mm,
his mid 50s. And that was a wake up call for me. And I said, I do not want to die with all this experience and knowledge in me, because when he died, everything he knew just was gone. And I'm
wow.
like, okay, how do I do that? So I started by writing a book and speaking, and then I started the podcast 5.5 years ago. So it's just to have a platform, to have a place to share, because I don't want to share with all this knowledge. I mean, what's the point then? If I can't help people, even when I'm gone, I want what I've learned to still be helping people, not just die with me.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know? Well, I tell you, you're doing a heck of a job, and I didn't know it was going to be like this. I just figured I'd yap for a little bit and then jump off, but I don't even want to leave, you know. So that's and that's the space that you create for us when we come on here. So, wow, that I'm honored to be here. I think this is really great, and I looked at a few of your podcasts as well, prior to, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be good. She's pretty good, because some of them just aren't, people trying to find their way. But I would like for you to look. There's nothing wrong. Like I said, when I worked in radio, there's nothing wrong with getting paid to just have fun. And when you really love what you do, and you appear to love what you do, it can never be work. It's all fun. It's all good. Even the process that you have to go through to get the person, your guest, here. It's something I would bet that it's not that big of a deal for you. Sure, it takes some time and effort, but
Mhm.
it's what you do, because you do it, and
Right.
you probably do it a lot less, uh, or a lot more effortless than someone else who doesn't want to belabor and have to do that, and they don't either. That's why it starts late or whatever it might be, you know. And I had a sense that I need to be. I'm make sure I'm here for that lady. That lady's the professor. Why I was here. You're like, you're up that early. I was like, I set an alarm,
Mhm.
right? And that's out of respect for the way that you carry what you do. You know what I mean? So right on there. But I would really like to see you, um, when I say monetize, and I hope I'm not going too far with this, because I don't know what you want people to know or not know, but monetize, because it's easy. You don't have to wait on somebody to come up and say, "Hey, I like what you're doing. I want to sponsor." Sponsorships are great, but that's old way. That's the old way. Sponsored by Kellogg's Corn Flakes. We don't need a sponsor. It's already built in. And but when you have your own platform, again, you can just have it where they can staple those things in, and you'll 1,000 people multiply by four. What's 1,000 times four? $4,000, right? Just 1,000 people over a whole month that will come through and swipe through a couple of you. Yeah, it's that simple. It really is. So I like to see you get to that point. That would be awesome. Yeah, for me.
Well, thank you. So now this is your time. This is your advertisement time right now. Where do people connect with you? Tell us about your app or anything else you want to tell about your services or anything.
Well, thank you, Kimberly, Dr. Kimberly. You know what? I have an app. It's a local app for Las Vegas. And what I mean is I'm doing something a little different with this whole app thing. I'm trying to right the wrongs, so to speak. I want to teach people. So my platform works a lot like Instagram or TikTok, mainly. It could be YouTube or Periscope if you're used to that from the Twitter days or whatever. And it's really not about, because the first thing people ask is, how many people do you have on there? That lets me know right there. That's not what we're doing. We're doing, how many people do you want to bring into here so that you can do well with them? It's a platform for that. And then ultimately, there'll be many people who may stumble upon you, but you should never be concerned about how many people are going to see me. How many people have you already impacted out there in these other apps that you can bring in here as well? And then you've got all the tools, and as a developer, like, I've never seen Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. Well, he's on his, but Mark Zuckerberg show up and say, "Hey, Mark Zuckerberg here," or you can just reach out to him and talk to him. And that's what I want to be, and I am for my platform as well. Because I want people to win. So I don't know. That question for me, I don't really have a lot that I don't sell anything. I just present to people locally so that people are 10, 15 minutes away. It's all about local businesses and people doing expos and events. They're already here. That's all. And most companies or people who would develop such a sophisticated app, because there's a certain level of sophistication with these apps, they wouldn't do that. They want to just bring everybody in the world in and squeeze them all in, no matter how bad it is for them all. It's oversaturation. There are 500 million different coaches and people doing exactly what you do. But in my app, we don't need all that. We just need the local town to come together. It's plenty for everybody, and everybody wins. So that's all. So I really don't, I don't really have a service or anything. What I like to be in a space like this where I'm comfortable and I can share my ideas and like you said, my knowledge. I have a wealth of knowledge doing this. This is what I do, and I could go on and on and on and just pop them off. Hey, look, you should do this. I can give you I don't have classes and what do you call it? Those seminars. Not knocking that, right? I don't have those. I just, when I'm in a position like this, I like to give them out. In my app, I'm teaching people right now how to, it's a radio station built in, how to interface with the actual radio station and go on and be on live, right? 24 hours, they can pick a time. Just one, there's a little app. I'm not advertising here because I didn't build this app, but there's a little app. I'll give you a little thing called Backpack. This little app right here, you can interface right with the station with some credentials. And when you're talking to the bottom of it, it sounds just like this mic, because they have processing in it. So, and people are like, whoa, wait a minute, you mean? And they're blown away, right? And that with the podcasting, we have our own podcasting setup, which I will tell you and your followers that I'm going to draw you in and have a podcast in our app. It's the perfect platform. But anyway, but I really have nothing to sell. I love it. I love not selling. When you win, the app wins. That's all. It's a perfect combination. So that's all I have. But I tell you, I have had a great time, and I'm having a great time on here. I want to do this again.
Well, thank you. Is there a way that people can connect with you?
Yeah.
Website, an email, something?
Yep. You can connect with me at Marcel. That's Marcel at new, and we spell it with, because all the NEWs were gone. So it's I started out just doing radio with this. I want to explain. So it's Marcel, Marcel at NU for new, media radio.com. So Marcel at new NU mediaradio.com. And you can get to me right there. Not a problem. I'll wave through some of that crap going on in my email account and I'll find you and I'll reply back to you. And that's pretty much or you can find me if you're in Vegas or download the app. All right. It's called Business, spelled with a B-I-Z, because all the B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S were taken. But B-I-Z-N-E-S-S, Business, Social, right? B-I-Z-N-E-S-S, S-O-C-I-A-L, Business Social, the number 4, LV.com. Business Social for LV.com. That's Business Social for LV. I'm just kidding. But yeah, check it out. And anybody can come to the app and connect with these people. But the people who are able to create posts and go live are the businesses. That way we have the business patrons and the community together. 15 minutes away, 10 minutes away, an hour away. When you're having something special, they're right there for you. Yeah.
Wonderful. So now I have a personal question.
Yes, ma'am.
What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
Doing this, doing what I do, doing what I love to do. And you can probably pick up on that. I'm very excited here. When I first jumped on here, you were like, oh my gosh, you're up already. Because I was just waiting for this. This is exciting for me. And I remember, I got to tell you, Dr. Kimberley, I remember, because I met you just at one time. People need to understand. And this was just a little bit ago, a week or so or whatever it's been. And you, that's what you do. You impact people just like that, right? And I was like, yeah, I'll do your show. Yeah, this will be great. And just because of how I met you and who you were, right? So I knew, and this is working out just as I knew it would. I'm having a great time here chatting with you. You're so pleasant. And that's just why that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on and telling your story and entertaining us all.
Oh my.
Quite a bit. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, I have one last question.
Sure.
Is your
you got me till at least another 5 hours, but go ahead.
okay. What is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
Well, I think we just nailed it. Just just be happy, because if you love what you're doing, whatever it is you're doing, you can monetize anything. You can, and you can do it well. Just do what you love to do. Thank goodness I found a long time ago quite a few things I love to do, but they found me. Just do what you love to do and be happy. Life's too short. I've just been having a ball. Tell people I don't even have a backstory. Oh, I was homeless in my car. I have nothing, but woo, and just good. And thank God, I've been blessed, right? I've been just having fun. Seems like, and it just goes so fast. I feel like a kid. I just been having a ball, 58 years old. I feel like I've been just a kid having a ball. What do you want me to do? Having a ball. So have fun. And here's something. Everything that happens, I believe, happens for a reason, right? See, we as human beings, regular people, we got expectations, We expect for something to be, we can't help it. Like right now, I expect this to be a cool interview. I don't expect it to be a bad one, right? So we can't help that. But if it is a bad one, then it is a bad one. And that's good for you too. Everything that happens to you is good for you, because at the end of it all, we're going to expire. And I don't want to get too morbid, but at the end of it all, we're going to expire. So that's the worst thing that can happen to you. So everything else is fun. Have fun. Do what you do. And don't worry about what other people say, because other people are not you. And other people were born from a whole nother group of people who, and all their experiences are different from yours. And they have every right to tell you that you are a knucklehead. They have every right to tell you that you're not cool, that you're ugly, or whatever else. Just like they have every right to tell you that you're beautiful or you're smart. You don't argue with them. Don't call me smart. I don't like me. You don't argue with that. Then don't argue when they say that you're not smart. Okay? Because they have every right to their opinion of you. It's not even yours. Their opinion of you belongs to them and they get it like you do. Because don't you give your opinion back? How dare you say that about me? Well, it makes you think he should listen to you. So now just do what you do and appreciate what comes your way. Go to bed. Because every time you think it's bad, I guarantee you, it's good. You just don't see it because you were expecting something different. That's how I live. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Marcel. I had so much fun. And we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. I hope so. I'll never talk to that guy again. Goodness. It's talked too long. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Dr. Kimberly. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me.